Shalom, my dear friends. I'm here in the Idra to continue the shirim on Jewish meditation and Kabbalah. And since we're combining these two concepts, which are really one and the same, work together, well, we're directing the shirim in these aspects. So, I don't know how many of you drive a stick shift. But those who love cars and love to drive know that you don't drive anything but a manual. Nothing but a manual, unless you have the Ferrari F40 that has the shifting on the top, but that's still not considered automatic. It's still a manual shift where you get full control over the car and at different levels when you're going to want to shift of the RPM. Because an automatic is going to decide when to shift out based on the RPMs and what it feels is best for the car. And you're not going to get the maximum amount of horsepower and torque and power when the computer chip is making these decisions for you. And so, someone like myself only buys, if possible, shalom bayis, a manual stick automobile. So Jewish meditation is very much like a ladder. Like Yaakov Avinu, we know that he had a dream, and there in that dream he saw a ladder, the angels climbing up and down. So this is comparable to the many worlds and the many spiritual, emotional connections a person can make. Now, there's many ways and many different ladders in Kabbalah in order to elevate the soul. And that's what Yehudim really are, is these ways of climbing different ladders to get to different spiritual realms and connect through different ways. But many of them are really the same. In order to get to this higher level of eventually Atzulot, the highest world, and then to connect to be bittul in the Ein Sof. But not all meditative yichudim and passages are in order to reach that Atzulot. Some are just to reach one world higher, or to connect to the different levels of neshama. There are 5 levels of neshama, of the soul. These aspects of the neshama itself compared to different worlds. That's right. The nefesh compares to asiya, the ruach to yitzira, and go on and on. And there are many of these comparable aspects. Maybe K Vav K, the final letter. The Hey is Malchut. The Vav is the 6 spheros, like climbing up. Then you have the Hey again, which is the Bina. Then you have the Yud, which is Chachma. And then you have the little top of the Yud, which is the Keter. So the name of Hashem itself, this name is a ladder. And you can do this with many things. Everything in Kabbalah you'll see is a ladder to climb and to elevate yourself. But like the stick shift, you got to understand when to put what RPM in the right place. You got to feel the car, you got to know the road. And you got to know when to shift, you got to know when to shift out. And to elevate yourself. And you got to make sure the tires are balanced. That's right. You got to make sure life is balanced at the time. To make sure you had a car wash, went to the mikveh. Got to make sure that the doors are locked. They're closed all the way. I'll let you figure that one out. But anyway, for instance, Hashem made the spheres comparable to the hand. That's right, the hands itself represent the spheros. There are 10 of them, like the 10 spheros. A person can look at the hand and actually climb the spheros through the hands, as we'll learn maybe in the future. And the body itself, you have the feet, you have the legs, which are Netzach and Hod. You have the mouth, which is Malchut. The bris, which is Yisod. You have the torso, the stomach, which is Tiferet. You have the left arm, which is Keter. The right arm, which is Chesed. Person, entire body. The entire body, the head, the mind. Left side, Bina. Right side, Chachma. The skull, Keter. The whole body, in and of itself, is a walking sphera. It's a walking spiritual world. And so it is with everything around a person. Hashem created everything to be spiritual ladders. The person can climb up and connect to Hashem. The whole purpose of the world, the whole purpose of everything is to know Hashem. To know Hashem. And so, the point that I wanted to really come across here is not to teach in this specific lesson all these different ladders, because it would be too confusing. We'd have to go one by one. And I want to give very soon a lesson on the different neshamos. But I wanted to come to a point, get to a point that the person should understand that the Jewish meditative process, that, as I brought forth to you, is a ladder. It's a way of climbing up to come through the worlds, to come closer to Hashem. And as you see, there are many, many avenues to do this. But the biggest mistake that people make, and even Kabbalists make this mistake, and people have been learning the texts in Kabbalah for years, people are more knowledgeable than me. The biggest mistake that they make is that they're not patient. It's brought by, I believe, Rabbi Chaim Vital, that a person who does a yichud or a meditation, I'm not encouraging yichudim, but a person who does a meditation, that the biggest thing is that they're not consistent. They're not consistent that they do it on a regular basis. And so for every day it says that you leave this yichud, that you step away from this yichud and you stop doing it, it becomes harder and harder to do. And so the key to feeling and making these yichudim, these meditative process in your life, however they are, whether it's the deepest Kabbalistic meditation or the smallest one, the key to it, which I can emphasize, is consistency. That you don't let a day slip by, that you don't try something. You don't try the same yichud again. And if it doesn't work 1,000 times, you try it 1,001 times. You try it 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 times. This is how Rav Chaim Vital did it. Rav Rizal saw him once, he came back and he said, I tried this yichud, it didn't work. I think he went to B'nai Ben Yehoyada. He said, it didn't work. The Arizal told him, you go back there tomorrow night. You go back there and you do it again. And you go back the next day and you do it again. And you do it again and again and again. Until it works. And eventually it'll work for you. And I've sat down with some big Kabbalists, and I was discussing the Yichudim, and they said, it doesn't work for me. I tried these things for years. You're telling me it works? And I was laughing at them. I said, did you do it every day? Did you do it consistently? You just gave up? How long did you do it for? And they still didn't even get my point. If you want to grasp the meditative process and to feel spirituality, it comes from consistency. These things are not, a person shouldn't have the gaiva, the pride in their heart to think that they're worthy one time to go and meditate on something that's going to work. They have to try it second time, a third time, 1,000, 2,000 times, 5 years. I'll give you an example. There was one thing that I was meditating on, and Baruch Hashem, I realized this point that I've just taught you, this key. And so I did the same thing for 3 or 4 years straight. I believe it was actually 5 years, 365 days straight. Maybe I missed a day here and there. I did it 4,000, 5,000 times before I felt anything. So my friends, again, don't underestimate the good of having pure thoughts of coming close to Hashem. Don't underestimate, even if you don't feel something, that it doesn't do anything. We're not here just because of feelings, we're here to do good things. And be consistent. And as much as this lesson was just kind of throwing out different thoughts of different ladders and not really giving you anything concrete, I've ended you with the most concrete thing of all. That many people have totally shunned away from the Jewish meditative process and closed up their books after years of learning just because it didn't work.
Ya